Many lives, beliefs, and faiths, many minds refuse to change, but there is one source of life, and we all know this deep inside. Many rivers all returning in their own way to one source. Many rivers all converging with the one unchanging force in our lives. Many souls upon the earth, many lost lives, many hurts, but there is one force we all feel. There is one love that will heal. Many rivers all returning in their own way to one source. Many rivers all converging with the one unchanging force in our lives. Though our eyes may fool our minds, in our hearts we recognize we are not two souls, you and I. We are one in our source of life. Many rivers all returning in their own way to one source. Many rivers all converging with the one unchanging force. Well, I can listen and I can love you, even if we don't agree. 'Cause where we come from and where we're going is the same for you and me. Like many rivers, we're returning in our own way to one source. Like many rivers, we're converging with the one unchanging force in our lives.
Good morning, Unity of Payson. I'm so delighted to see you. Those of you who are here in person, some people I haven't seen for a little while, and those of you who are joining us virtually, we're delighted to be together, not separate souls, but one. I'm Rev Neal Worthington, and would you join me in just a moment of quiet and opening prayer? God of all goodness, God that is abundance, not only dispenses abundance, but is abundance, and the divine in us has access to that abundance. We are so grateful. That increase of good that comes into our lives we call grace. And so we are thankful today for the grace, and we set our focus on receiving that abundance, that grace. So we tune our hearts to that as we gather together, knowing that there are some things that we're going to have to let go and be in the past for us. And that's good, because it makes way for the new, makes way for the better, makes way for the highest good. In all of this, we are grateful and for everyone who has joined us this morning. And so it is. So we have an opening song, Relax, Let Go, Release and Surrender. If you're here in person and you'd like to stand and sing along, because this is one of our favorites, and don't forget to watch the screen, and if you're here with us virtually, as you look at the slides, you'll get a little bit of a tickle because it's fun. Relax, let go.
I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well, all is well. And every day I affirm and pray that I'm blessed with everything I have. I release my fear, 'cause it's oh so clear. I am held, I am loved, I am safe. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I am well, I am well, I am well. And now I see what my life can be when I trust in the process and have faith. And now I know when I just let go that I have all I'll ever need. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I am well, I am well, I am well. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well, all is well. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well. I am well, I am well. All is well, all is well. I am well. Ooh-wee.
Gotta love old doo-wop. Oh, good morning, everyone. It's so good to see you all. I can't see online, but welcome also. I don't see anyone here for the first time. If there is anyone online here for the first time, you can go to the chat and give us a little hello and let us know where you're joining us from. And if anybody would like to be on the Monday email to be sure you know what all's going on, you can either talk to Neil after service or go to unityofpayson.org and go to the contact page and leave your information, because we always have lots going on. And so once again, we welcome everybody, and let's say our affirmation together. We love you, we bless you, and we welcome you. And on to gratitudes. Unity of Payson's grateful for all the support, all you lovely people here and online, and with your time, talents, and treasures. And so we just are grateful for the activities this past week, for Morning Cafe, and for the Qigong Tai Chi, organic gardening at Rom's, the Course in Miracles, and we're thankful for the technology, which we seem to be getting a little bit better control of here. So yay for the technology that allows us to meet both ways. And just a little extra nod to Leslie and her cooking class that was yesterday, was that not? Oh, it was, Rom's class. Yay, thank you for that. And Unity is grounded in affirmative prayer and in meditation, and we have trained prayer chaplains. Most of us are wearing the stoles here this morning. If you have a prayer need, don't hesitate after service or potluck, probably today, to tap us on the shoulder, and we have a room across the hall for some privacy. During the week, if you would like prayer support, you can always email your request to neil.unityofpayson@gmail.com. And if you want one of us to contact you personally, be sure to leave either phone or email that we can connect with you. So our theme for the month is grace. And let's say the affirmation together. I am transformed as I receive and extend divine grace. And of course, our speaker this morning is our own Rev Neal Worthington, and his talk title is Receiving Grace. And we will also be doing a burning bowl ceremony today also. And so today's daily word is freedom. And once again, let's say the affirmation together. The divine presence within guides me to freedom. At times, I may feel hemmed in by circumstances, limited by lack of opportunity. I can't imagine that, but okay. Or faced with an unwelcome situation and no good choice. When that happens, I may feel anything but free. Rather than despair, I find my freedom in God and the limitless expression of my own divinity. Shifting my perspective from the limits of the world to the expanse and perfection of spirit, peace fills me. I relax and remember that no earthly trouble is greater or more enduring than God. I claim the power of the divine and feel a strength beyond mere human strength. As, moment by moment, I release limiting beliefs and reclaim the power I had given to my problems. Spirit lives in me and as me. This truth is my true freedom. And from 2 Corinthians, now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And so many times, I'm a worrier. It's a challenge. I'm continuing to heal and release that. But how many times have all of you worried about something over and over and over, and it never came to pass? And so that energy could so wisely be placed someplace else, toward dreams and aspirations. So let's just remember that the monkey mind is not reality. And now we have our message from Rev Neal.
There's a story about a man who leaves this earthly plane and arrives at the pearly gates. And of course is met by St. Peter. St. Peter immediately sets the man straight and says, now here's how it goes. I'm going to give you 100 points. When you earn 100 points, the pearly gates will open and you'll be escorted into heaven. Man nods. St. Peter says, you just have to tell me the good things you've done. And we'll give you points for these. And when you get to 100 points, you're in. So the man starts and says, I've been married for 50 years to the same woman, and I've never been unfaithful to her, not even in my heart. Great, says St. Peter. That's good for 3 points. So the man goes on, and I went to church every Sunday, or almost every Sunday. I tithed, I gave service, I was a volunteer at my church. And St. Peter said, well, that's really good. That's worth 1 point. The man goes on yet again, but I started a soup kitchen, and I worked with homeless vets for many, many years. St. Peter says, that's good for 2 points. The man's exasperated and he says, well, how can I get into heaven? I can't get into heaven except for the grace of God. St. Peter says, you got it. Come on in. Well, of course, we don't look at it exactly like that, because heaven is not that fictitious pearly gates with St. Peter waiting for us somewhere up in the sky. But heaven is a possibility every day. And as we are able to not stock up good works, but as we're able to experience the divine that is within us, we experience heaven. So today we're talking about grace. Of course, the theme for the month of January is grace, and the affirmation, as we've already said it, is I am transformed as I receive and extend grace. And today we're going to focus on receiving, because receiving grace is the title for today's message. The Course in Miracles describes grace this way. Grace is the acceptance of the love of God within a world of seeming hate and fear. We've looked at definitions before, but this one adds a little bit to our understanding. And so for today, when we talk about receiving grace, I put together a key spiritual truth. It's true for me, and I hope you'll benefit from it as well. And here it is. When I acknowledge divine grace and allow it to come to me, I am able to freely accept it. And that's what we'll talk about today. What's grace? How can I live in a state of grace? And when I do, what does it look like? We start with that acknowledgement piece, because that's the first thing, acknowledging the grace of the divine in our lives. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult for us because we don't really believe it. We don't really believe in the grace of God. But take just that little bit of belief that you have, that belief that maybe God is good, or maybe good things can happen for me, or maybe I can create the life that I desire. Maybe my heart's desire is ready to be fulfilled. Take that little bit of belief and build it. And build it to that place where it becomes a transforming presence in your life, and grace is allowed to flow in and flood in for you. So belief is number one thing to take a look at. You know, you can build belief by what you think. We know how important and how powerful our thoughts are. So as we build our belief block by block, thought by thought, belief is nothing more than a thought you've thought again and again. and it becomes part of your system. Now, some beliefs are something that your parents gave you or your mentors gave you somewhere along the line, or the society gives you. That's a belief because you think it again and again, sometimes unconsciously. But when you choose to think again and again, that which draws you, that which you think, man, that's the truth, that's the reality, and that truth that we're talking about today, the grace, the divine grace, the abundant divine grace is there for me to receive. We talk about love a lot when we talk about grace, and they're so parallel, almost the same one as another. So love, that fabric of the universe, the substance from which everything is created, the genesis of all of creation. That too is grace. And then I think it's important for us, in order to acknowledge grace, to be able to go ahead and open to it. Sometimes we're very closed to grace. We're closed in our mind, we're closed in our heart, and our hands are closed, almost like fists close. And so we don't receive grace. So as we look to receive grace, we look to open our hands, open our hearts, and open our minds. Over the New Year time, Donna and I watched a movie. Nice romantic comedy, something light. But there was a bit of truth in there as well. And the story goes like this. There's a young couple, or two young people that are kind of in the process of becoming a couple. And at one point in the movie, they're going to a wedding. The young woman's sister is being married. And they meet up with an older couple, a couple that's been married more than 50 years. And they celebrate that union. And the older woman says to the young woman, "Yeah, it doesn't seem like you're ready for a wedding. You have on a pretty shabby coat." The older woman is wearing a pink carnation coat, one that she was wearing the very first time she met her husband more than 50 years ago. And the older woman says, "Here, take my coat. Take my coat, because you need this coat to go to the wedding." The young woman at first says, "Oh, no, I couldn't. This means so much to you. There's a lot of nostalgia with it and sentimental value." And the older woman looks at her and says, "When the universe gives you a gift, take it." And that is true for us. When we acknowledge and open ourselves to just take divine grace, well, the story ends well, I'll put it that way, or it doesn't even end. So not only do we acknowledge grace, we allow it to come into our lives. Allowing is a matter of sometimes removing a blockage or transcending a challenge. So it's a matter of releasing. And we talk about that specifically today and will in our burning bowl ceremony yet to come. There are reasons why we don't allow. Sometimes we don't think we deserve. We have a weak self-appraisal. Sometimes we think small. For example, we think of ourselves at Unity of Payson as a small little community. And it seems very nice. But we miss the grace of God because we can't think more largely. And I'm sure that that's true for you in your life, that there is some areas that you just think small. And that isn't something that impedes the flow of grace to us. there's also the nature of us, or at least it's in my nature, to work at cross purposes. Yes, we affirm the goodness of the divine, but on the other hand, we spend time, as Betty, you talked about, worrying or some other pursuit, and so these two things just don't go together. We're working at cross purposes, and so when we look at allowing grace, we look to uncross those purposes and to be single-minded and focused on that which is our heart's desire. But primarily, allowing is something that doesn't happen when pride and arrogance surface in our lives. Don't know if any of you have ever had a problem with that, but I think it is. Pride, of course, is listed as one of the 7 deadly sins. The antidote to it, humility. A little hard to get it. Give me humility, God, and give it to me right now. Pride says, I've got to do it by myself. I'm strong. I'm going to do this. I'm going to muscle through this, and I'm going to accomplish what I want to accomplish. Pride. Pride that says, oh, I don't know about receiving. I'm a very giving person. I want to give. It's better to give than receive. Well, I'd like to rewrite that maxim and say it's better to give, best to give and receive. Important part of it is receiving. Sometimes we're just too busy giving, or too busy chasing a fantasy out there. That's part of pride as well, too. We're just going to do our own thing. We're going to follow our urges, whether or not they connect with the true person that we are, our higher self. And arrogance that says, I don't need what you've got to give me. Addressing the divine, maybe. I don't need divine help on this. I don't need what you've got to give me. And that is arrogance. When the universe gives you a gift, back away from that tendency to be prideful and take it. And then there's the idea of really, truly accepting grace. It's a matter of claiming the powers that we have, accepting grace. You know about, most of you, if you don't, it's a good thing to find out about, the 12 powers. Put out by Charles Fillmore in a book more than 100 years ago, Charles Fillmore being Unity's co-founder. And there are 5 of these powers that I think are particularly important when we're looking at receiving and accepting grace to ourselves. I just want to list them briefly. Faith. Faith is that power or ability or faculty that we have as a divine gift. It's part of our very nature and part of our nature as we connect with the divine within us. Faith is the ability to believe with confidence. We talked about belief a little bit. Faith is the ability to believe and take the action to establish belief and do that with confidence. Then there's wisdom, of course. Wisdom, the ability to evaluate, the ability to apply what we know. Wisdom, a prerequisite to receiving the full flow of grace. And then there's, of course, love, the ability to harmonize and unify. Marianne, I know harmony is a big thing with you. And unify, unity, that's what we seek to do as unity people. People who have the belief that we are one and that we have the ability to do things, to have the mindset that unifies all of us. Then the power of will. The ability to choose. We talked about choosing thoughts. This will allow us to accept grace, to make choices that we know are in line with our higher self, our higher consciousness, and it will raise us up even further as we choose. And then finally, back to release. The ability to release, the ability to let go. So there you have it, acknowledging grace, allowing grace, and accepting grace. And like I always say at the end of a message, how do I do that? I'm going to suggest 3 ways. This is kind of like a homework assignment as well. Number 1, you're going to acknowledge grace if you look for it and if you find it and if you see it wherever it is, because it's all around you. So go home and make a list. Here's my grace list. Every time I notice grace in action, whether it's grace coming to me, whether it's grace coming through me, and we'll talk about that next week, whether it's grace coming to someone else, or just a universal grace that descends on us, because it's a part of creation and the very nature of the universe. Make that grace list, and every time you notice grace, put something down. If you're really good at it, if you're really diligent about it, you'll probably need a second piece of paper. That's number 1. Number 2, one of the things that keeps us, one of the things that's the obstacle for us to receiving grace is the willingness to be vulnerable. We think that if we put our best face onto the world, that's the way people will like us best. But you know, that takes us on a track. It takes us away from receiving grace. As we're able to truly be seen, as we're able to be vulnerable, we will find not only the benefits for ourselves, but the benefits for ourself in community. Vulnerability. So look for some area in which you can maybe be tempted to be closed and let yourself be seen. And thirdly, what is mine to let go in order that good may increase in my life? What is mine to let go? And we'll shortly go into a burning bowl ceremony, and we'll have an opportunity to kind of plumb the depths of our soul to know what's ours to let go. So going back to that being in heaven, and not the St. Peter and the pearly gates one, but the idea of being able to establish in our lives that heavenly space available to us, full of peace, love, and joy. It's doable. It's doable when we acknowledge grace, when we allow grace, and when we accept grace. And so it is. We're going to move now into a time of meditation and burning bowl ceremony. For those of you who are online, we'll walk you through it. It's going to be a little different here in person. And we're going to first have a meditation song, Blessing to the World, by Karen Drucker. And then we'll proceed with our reflection and our burning bowl ceremony.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. I'm a blessing to the world. I'm a blessing to the world.
We enter this time of reflection and meditation. Let's take an opportunity to still our minds, to make the choice to still your mind, to still your body, and to be here, wherever you are, now. Of course, we're only 8 days into the new year, 2023. And today is an opportunity to focus on releasing the past. What do we release when we release the past? We release heartbreaks and difficulties, habits and life patterns that do not serve us, negative thoughts that keep running in our mind again and again, resentments, anger. These we release, and things that we have held on to. Situations in our life, again, that don't serve us. People in our life that really aren't there for our good. Or perhaps we haven't set the boundary with them that assures that we're going to be in a place to receive grace. Rick is going to be passing some things out in person here. We have a little paper, a book if you needed to write on, pen and pencil, whatever you need, because that's going to be a part of this burning bowl ceremony, but we're going to give it a little bit of a different look today. Of course, we think of burning bowl as fire, that purifying fire that helps us to release the past. But we're going to use another symbol today, also a purifying symbol, and that is the symbol of water. So we're not going to start a fire here in Payson United Methodist Church. We're going to use water today for that. But you could do a number of other things. You could take the paper that you're going to be writing, those things that you release, and you could just put it in the shredder. You could take it out in the backyard and bury it. And for those of you online, you choose what will work for you. First of all, if you're online, get a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen so that you can participate together with this burning bowl, or this purifying bowl of water ceremony as it is here. So having explained that, it looks like we're just about all the way around in terms of distributing paper. Rick, when you get done there, would you bring paper up here for me as well? I need one. I didn't. Should have do it ahead of time. I don't know if you heard that. Rick said, Tom says he doesn't need one. So let's bring ourselves back to that time of quiet, that time where we will search our souls. Some of you have already begun writing because you know what it is yours to release. What we'll do here in person is, as we complete our reflection time, one by one, please come to the front where you can drop that paper in the bowl and it will dissolve. It will be no more. That symbol of release. So let's be quiet now as we hear the voice of Spirit. Letting go is an invitation for the grace of Spirit to guide me. As I let go, I am creating room for new ideas, opportunities, and am opening to the richness of a universe that always provides for me in abundance. I am ready to receive grace upon grace. So let's take just a few moments in the silence as you allow Spirit within to reveal to you what is yours to release. What is the obstacle that keeps you from going forward? What will allow you to receive grace? In the quiet, we plumb the depths of our own soul and allow Spirit to speak. And as it becomes aware, you become aware of what it is it's for you to release and to let go. Write that on the paper. This is mine to let go. There's the lyrics to a song we sometimes sing as well. I just want to read them for you. There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all by myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient, and I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you're discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. Let it all go, and this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. My heart is open wide. Yes, it's only up to God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, it's only up to God. So bring your awareness back to this time and place now as we proceed with the burning bowl ceremony. For those of you online, fashion this as is exactly right for you. And so when you're ready, if you're here in person, come up to the front. Betty and I will be in the front here. You will drop that paper into the bowl. Might be good to just whisper, I release and I let go. We're planning on music at this point. And the angels, please. This time in this place completely. I need to wiggle your fingers or your toes to be sure you're here. Time has come for you, and you've let go of those things that Spirit has prompted you to say, this no longer needs to be a part of my life. I release and I let go. And so it is.
What a great blessing for your bowl, Jennifer. Charge up the whole release process into the crystal structure of your bowl. Right? That's where my mind went. And it is now time for our gifts and our offerings. We appreciate all of the support as we support the larger community. And as you listen to our offering song, those online, the slides will be up as to how to do that, and there'll be plenty of time. And here in person, of course, Rick will be passing our basket. And so call to mind all of those releases that you just held in your heart. And let's charge this up also with the spirit of release as we say our affirmation together. Freely we give and freely we receive. And our song is This Thing Called Life by Faith Rivera.
Today is the day I will change my luck. I will fight 3 pennies and there'll be heads up. I will walk like a queen in my tennies and jeans, 'cause I know where I come from. From the stars and the sun, from that magical one, I am part of this thing called life. Yeah, from the known to unseen, everything in between, I am part of this thing called life. I am one with this thing called life. Yeah, today is the day I'll remember to see only good, only God happening through you and me. I will not forget all the treasures due me, 'cause I know where I've come from. From the stars and the sun, from that magical one, I am part of this thing called life. Yeah, from the known to unseen, everything in between, I am part of this thing called life. I am one with this thing called life. Yeah, today is the day I'll be more of myself, love my skin, where I've been, and everyone else. No more push, no more pull, simply flow as I go, 'cause I know where I come from. From the stars and the sun, from that magical one, I am part of this thing called life. Yeah, from the known to unseen, everything in between, I am part of this thing called life. Yeah, from the stars and the sun, from the magical one, I am part of this thing called life. Yeah, from the known to unseen, everything in between, I am part of this thing called life. I am one with this thing called life. I am loved by this thing called life.
So we're grateful for all the gifts and for the givers as we dedicate the offerings. And the words are up there on the slide. Together, divine love, us, blessings and multiply, all that we offer, all that we give, that we receive. We are one, we are grateful, and we give thanks. Okay, moving on to announcements. Yoo-hoo. We continue on with the same theme next week of grace. I am transformed as I receive and extend divine grace. And our speaker again will be Rev Neal, and his talk title is Extending Grace. Sometimes we don't think of, maybe we think of grace coming from somewhere out there, but that we are that representatives of spirit and extending that. And we will also be doing the white stone ceremony next Sunday. So now we have just a few quick announcements. We have our usuals. the morning cafe, Monday through Saturday at 9:30 on Zoom. These are all on Zoom unless noted, and they're all on a love offering basis also. The Qigong and Tai Chi moving meditation with Teresa, Sunday and Wednesday at 4:30. Highway cleanup, contact Neal if you want to participate in that. That's once a month. The organic gardening, of course, at Shanti Olmsted with Ram. Happens to be in person if you want to speak to him about it. And the next, after today, because we have a potluck today, the next one will be February 5th. And this week, in addition to that, we have the Writers Group. Thursday, January 12th from 4 to 5, and that's the second and fourth Thursday of the month. And that is really well attended. If any of you have the impetus, the drive to write, that's a really great group. And you can talk to Neal about that also. And today, after the meeting, we will be having not only the membership meeting, a brief meeting, but then we will also be having our potluck. And so, Reverend Neal, P.S.
As Betty said, there's always a lot of happening, and there's things that don't even make it in the monthly calendar. Thank you to Terry for producing a monthly calendar. If you'd like a printed copy of that monthly calendar, it's on the table back where Marianne is, and I hope you'll do that. But the 23rd at 6 o'clock in the evening, we will have a hybrid conversation, a kindness conversation. We've thought that here's something we could do in the world. We'll promote kindness. So we want to have a kindness conversation. Rick has been leading this project, this kindness project, and there'll be a lot of other things to follow. But we're starting it off with a kindness conversation, and I hope you'll be able to join us then. We'll get the information out to you in the emails as well. I think that's about what we have today. If you're here in person and you want to circle up and just give that idea of oneness as we grasp hands, or at least are close in a circle, we'll sing our peace song, and then of course the prayer for protection at we end. We'll have a brief break, and then we'll go on into our also brief annual meeting. We're working. Okay, this peace song. Start it for us, Phyllis, will you? Not too high. There is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that is meant to be, with God as creator, family all we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me, and this is the moment now. With every step I take, this is my joyous vow. I take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. And the prayer for protection: the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. And the presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you so much for being here. A brief break, And you that are online will be back, and you can participate in this annual meeting. All are welcome to attend, and we'll have that meeting. And Tom will take over the mic here because Tom's our president. So just a few minutes, and we'll